Hi, it's Diederik Gelderman here, and today I'm here with Brandon Breshears from the Veterinary Marketing Podcast in Southern California, sunny Southern California.
Sunny Southern California.
Got to get that right. So, Brandon, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, for anyone that doesn't know Brandon, he's got a podcast called the Veterinary Marketing Podcast, and you can find him on the web at that address or on Facebook, and you're everywhere: LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, anything I've missed?
Yep, exactly. It's mostly Facebook. If you want to get hold of me, though, that's a good place to send me a message, and I respond pretty quickly there. And
Brandon has an absolutely brilliant, awesome weekly podcast, comes out every Monday. And I've been following Brandon for, I guess, about a year. You've been going for about 2.5 years now in the veterinary industry?
Yep, just about 2.5 years. And so it started, right around 2.5 years ago, almost exactly.
So, and look, for anyone that's listening or watching, Brandon is brilliant, awesome, superb, and you've got to listen to what he does. It is just phenomenal, and then apply the stuff. So, Brandon, lead-in question, and you talk on your podcast about YouTube, not so much, but certainly Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and email marketing. What are you finding is the best modality if a practice says, oh, gee, I really can't do all of that, I just need to do one or two?
For sure. And I don't think everybody should be everywhere necessarily. Right now, I can say with confidence that your clients are certainly on Facebook and they're certainly on Instagram. So if you're going to just focus on one or two things, I would really go and combine Facebook and Instagram, simply because they have the same ad platform, and it's relatively easy to integrate ads and distribute content and get in front of the right people who are going to be your potential clients. And then also, I think Google AdWords is a fantastic platform too, if you're just trying to find people that are actively searching for more transactional type purchases. So they're definitely different platforms, and they have different rules that you want to use when you're marketing on those two.
Okay, thank you. Now, a lot of practices, you'll have seen it as well, put a post up every so often, and it's a cute cat picture or a funny dog or something like that. Is that what they should be doing, or should they be being a little bit more strategic, or should there be some more depth to that content?
I think that it's important to mix it up. And I think that one of the big things that when they're told to post on Facebook or Instagram or these other social platforms, and they're not really sure what they're doing there. And so I think having a clear goal, are you trying to just reach new clients? Are you trying to convert potential clients into actual clients? Or are you trying to sell services to people who are already your clients? And so really focusing on what is the intent of this post and what am I trying to get out of it? Because you need to do all three things. You need to make people aware of you. You need to make people consider becoming clients. And then you also need to help those current clients to come back into the practice and sell
so
to them.
How would a practice make a decision as to whether they boost a post or pay to boost a post?
So typically, it depends on what the goal is. If you're marketing to current clients, for example, with Dental Month or something like that, you're going to want to definitely pay to promote that post into hopefully the right audience of current clients. But if it's an awareness post where you're just doing something fun, maybe a good local story, or you're just trying to increase your following, typically the way that I decide to do that is first I post it, I see if it gets some traction. And by traction, if I'm posting something that's for awareness, I'll look at how many likes and shares it's getting. If it's being remotely successful organically, I'll typically give it anywhere from 12 to 24 hours to see how it's doing. If it does pretty well, I'll boost that post. Throwing money behind a post doesn't necessarily help it get out there. And so if you're having something that's remotely successful, boosting it will help it to be more successful. And typically, the way that I measure that success, and if it's going to be a very cheap cost per engagement, which is the goal with Boost typically, is if it has basically a 10% engagement rate to impressions. So let's say when you post something on Facebook, for example, it tells you how many impressions or how many people it's reached. And so if it's reached 1,000 people and it's gotten 100 reactions, that's something that I'll boost for sure.
Okay, thank you. Now, you brought money in the equation a couple of minutes ago, and that's something that a lot of practice owners tell me, look, I'm not posting on Facebook, I'm not doing Instagram, whatever, because I can't get any money out of it. Or maybe the question is, how do I get an ROI, or how do I measure that ROI? Have you got any feedback on that?
Definitely. So again, kind of mention that you have different targets that you're shooting for. You have awareness, you have evaluation, and then you have conversion. So if you're trying to measure and figure out what your return on investment for your ad spend is, obviously posting a picture of a cute kitten will get you a lot of likes, but that's not going to translate necessarily into return on investment. So making sure that you're measuring return on investment on that conversion type post, right? So if you put out a dental month promotion that people opt in with an email address, they get sent a coupon, how many people bring those coupons in for dental month, and you can track that and specifically say, okay, I spent $100 on this promotion and it resulted in $1,200 in revenue. What's my ROI based on that? And you're gonna have to figure out how you want to determine ROI too, is you're using gross or net numbers once people come in. So it really, obviously, if all you're doing, and what I see a lot of practices doing, is that they're not actually working to sell anything. And you don't have to be obnoxious and banging down the door to get people to come in or anything. But if you're not actually presenting offers that are relevant to people, you're not going to sell anything. So there's not going to be an ROI there. And I think that's the main problem why people are not seeing ROIs, is because they're not actually presenting relevant offers to segmented audiences that Facebook really allows you to do, and other platforms for sure.
Cool, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. From a general perspective, what's a like worth? A like on Facebook. So I think a like is actually very valuable, and we're still in. I'll say a couple of years ago, I used to not be concerned with likes at all because they were so cheap and easy to get. And now I'm kicking myself because I hadn't developed and really promoted for likes back at that time. But having segmented audiences is very important. So as long as this like is your hopefully ideal client in an area that is valuable to you, since the veterinary business is very regional, you don't want to have likes from all over. So it's definitely valuable, and if you can convert that person into a client, it's definitely worth something. It depends on the industry and what you're trying to do, but it's valuable as long as you're hopefully selling something or getting that like into an actual client. But I see a lot of practices do things like they do donations or contests where they say, for every like we get, we will donate $1 or whatever it is. And in that case, you're getting a huge broad brush of people who might not be ideal clients. And so doing things like that, more likes is not better. It needs to be targeted so that it can be an actual client. So for an American or an Australian practice, there's no point getting likes from South Africa.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. You want to be within a 20-mile radius of your practice at most, is what I would say. Okay.
Now, what's the difference between a like and a reach, and which one is more valuable?
So, for example, if you have a post that you put out and and somebody who likes your page shares it, the reach of that, now they're sharing it on their personal page. And so their friends and family and their network is now seeing that. So the reach is how many individuals view it, and the likes are how many people are following your page. So it's important to get good reach. So if you're not getting reach on your page, that means typically that your content is boring, not engaging, unfortunately. And so the algorithm, Facebook wants to get people engaged, and they want people staying on the platform as long as possible. So if you're consistently putting out content that not anybody is reacting to or engaging with, you'll start to see a drop off in your distribution.
So I've got two things on the back of that, and I guess so. The take home with it is if the reach is terrible, you need to improve your content creation, and then is it valuable? Is there any point in paying to improve that post? If the reach is terrible to start with, is there any point in paying to boost that?
I don't think so typically, with the exception of your offers that you're actually doing a conversion on. So if you're, have your, for example, that dental month example, the reach is not going to be huge because it's something people aren't going on Facebook to find dental month offers. And so an organic reach with something like that is not going to be significant. And so with specific offers, I think that paying for your distribution is a good idea. For your more evaluation and awareness type offers or posts, it needs to have good organic distribution. Otherwise, it will be a waste of money. And when I say, too, that when you're creating offers, I don't think you need to go out and you need to spend $200 your first day or whatever. I think starting with small tests, if it works well at $10, it'll work well at $100. If it doesn't work well at $10, you're going to probably spend $100 and not get any good results either.
So that was my next question. How much should a practice be spending in their social media advertising?
It definitely depends on the area and the size of the practice. But and also, if you're producing a positive ROI on it, you want to be able to scale that. There are some difficulties in scaling digital marketing as far as the effective expense of that. It's not a linear kind of cost situation. So I would say that every practice, just as a rule of thumb, I would say $10 a day would be a good ad spend as a minimum, specifically on Facebook. And I would probably do it where I would spend $4 or probably actually $6 on awareness, $3 on evaluation, and then $1 on conversion type offers. So have a 60, 30, 10 kind of structure there for offers and things. Does that make sense?
Yep, does. Perfect. Thank you. That's really useful. And then, two things. We talked a couple of seconds ago about content, and I remember you put out a really great, simple, I think it was 3 or 4 pages on content, like blogs to post and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it's 34 blog post ideas that I've created. So it's not necessarily like specific idea like how to train your dog, but more of blog post types. And so how to create content easily for your website or your social media so that you can create ideas on the fly and really begin to create content that's going to help you to segment your clients and also provide value to them for sure.
Is that still available if someone wants to get that download?
Yep. If they go to veterinarymarketingpodcast.com on the homepage there, if you click that Get Started button, it'll actually take them to that 34 blog post ideas.
Brilliant.
Thank you. They can download there.
Cool. Well, this gives people a way to improve their content. Where should people be advertising?
I think that people should be advertising on Facebook, Instagram, and also on Google AdWords. You mentioned YouTube. I like YouTube a lot, but the strategy I think for YouTube is different for smaller practices. YouTube is great for video ads. So if you can create a video commercial and retarget to people who visited your website but maybe haven't checked out, that's a great ad strategy right now because you can get really cheap views for very good price. It's very affordable and you can control that pretty well too. I think though, as a rule, because this will change over time, but anywhere that your audience is spending time, that you can effectively segment that audience and then advertise for a relatively affordable price is going to be the place that you can go, because every social media is changing so fast that it's definitely going to continue to change, and audiences are changing all the time. So today, Facebook and Instagram, I think that Instagram is probably going to become more important to a lot of practices, but right now those two are very good.
Cool, thank you. What about SEO? Should a practice pay for SEOing?
So I think SEO is one of those things that is has a lot of misconceptions around it. SEO is at this time structural. So there used to be a lot of tricks that you could do to get your page to rank. Those tricks, and every time that Google updates their algorithm, they have all of these algorithm updates with funny names like penguin and hummingbird and panda and all these other things. They update their algorithm so that it produces more natural results and basically makes it harder for people to manipulate those results. And so it's very, very important to make sure that you're set up structurally. And by structure, I mean that your website needs to have the proper URLs. It needs to have a headline. It needs to have subheads with the keywords in it. It needs to have the proper body content, the proper alt image and image tags that you need to use. So all these kind of technical structural things when you set up your web page. But the content creation around that as well can be specific. But I think a lot of the companies that do SEO are largely a waste of money for practices. It's not like a faucet that you can necessarily turn on and off. And if you can do that, I think that it's typically tactics that are not going to have longevity for your practice. And so especially if you're building it up as a source that you're going to really rely on, you want to make sure that you're doing it naturally, because you are a practice and Google does want to show those results up. So you just need to have the proper structure, and I think that will make sure that you're in a good way. Do that and then create content on a blog with specific keywords that you're targeting perhaps. That would be a good strategy.
And the blog comes out of the practice website as such.
Yep, exactly. So build content around topics that are going to help your clients and what they're searching for.
Cool, great, thank you. That makes a lot of sense. So what if someone says, my Facebook ads aren't working? What would you be telling them to do?
So first I would say, what are you trying to achieve with this Facebook ad? Make sure that it has a clear call to action. Make sure that they understand what they want to be measuring, and then figure out what the problem is. With ads, typically you have your ad. So that's the very first part that can have a problem. So is it delivering? Are you getting the proper click-through rates? Is it showing to the right people? And once people go from the ad to the web page, is that web page clear? Does it offer a specific benefit? And what are you trying to do on the web page? I see a lot of people sending traffic directly to their homepage. And when they do that, it's frustrating because then the person, they see an ad with maybe a specific offer, and then they have to figure out what to do next from there. So it needs to be really clear, and you can troubleshoot that pretty easily by figuring out, is the ad consistent throughout, and is there a clear call to action so that you can actually have a conversion? And hopefully you're measuring that as well. So there's a few things that you need to do for sure. But I see that happen a lot, especially with this happens all the time. I see marketing companies that are soliciting hard for business, and they're just literally sending all the traffic to the homepage. And so it's really unclear to find out and measure what the return on that investment is. So have a very clear objective, and then send traffic to that objective.
And thank you for that, because I see so many practices doing exactly what you say, sending traffic to their web page, which is a waste of time because the client just gets confused. So where do you think they should be creating, what platform should they be using to create a landing page?
Sure. So I think that if they have a website that's functional, they can create a landing page there pretty easily.
Okay.
One thing that I like too is called Lead Pages. It's a landing page creation tool. It's very simple to use, and it's hosted by Lead Pages, and so you can use it pretty easily. But you don't even necessarily need to have a landing page now. With Facebook and a few other channels, you can actually have native conversion where your call to action is to comment on a video, and then you can send them a message privately once they comment. I think whenever possible, if you can keep the interaction on the platform that they're on, you're going to improve your conversion. So that's one of the things that I really like to do now, especially with Facebook, is either use their native lead forms. So they actually have landing page forms that you can build within Facebook with your page now, or just have them simply comment if you're doing a video, or anything like that. Like you can just have them comment, and then you can begin the conversation from there.
And with Messenger coming out now, that's going to be a lot easier, isn't it?
Absolutely. So there's Messenger bots that you can create that will respond to people who comment. It's amazing. My favorite program is called ManyChat.com, which is a free Messenger bot creator tool. And just the level of sophistication that you can create very, very easily is amazing. I'm very excited. Messenger ad types are now available for pages. So you can send people to Messenger, and then based on how they interact with that, you can create rules for responses. Or, going back to that dental month, instead of having them go to a landing page, you can just say, if you'd like to receive our dental month special, comment on this video or this post, and then it'll automatically send them a link or a voucher, PDF, whatever you want, and they can bring that in. It can be very sophisticated, but it's very easy to create that, especially with a tool called ManyChat.
That's amazing new technology, isn't it?
It is amazing. It's probably my favorite thing. I think building up subscribers. So it's basically like an email autoresponder, but through Facebook Messenger. And not very many people are doing it across any industry, let alone, I don't know of any veterinary practices really using it too much, but it's amazing.
I listened to your podcast on ManyChat. I think it was probably about 10 episodes ago or something like that. I was just amazed.
It's very exciting. I'm using it for a bunch of e-commerce things. It's just so cool. You can send broadcasts to people. It's just fantastic. So the beauty is too that people don't. If you look at your Facebook Messenger versus your email, on my phone, I have something like 53,000 unread emails versus my Messenger is empty. So if somebody's sending me a message on Facebook, it's typically friends or family, and so it gets a lot more attention than my email inbox, which everybody's spamming.
Oh, that's interesting. I remember you said last again. I heard you on one of your podcasts saying how many thousands of unread messages you had on your in your email.
Yep, I have 62,509 actually. So it's a little bit overwhelming.
I just use the delete key.
I have too many. I don't have time to delete them. I need to hire an assistant or something just for my emails. I'm not sure.
So if we could just wrap up, can you just go through some of the biggest mistakes that you see when it comes to paid ads, hiring marketing companies, and social media?
For sure. I think the biggest problem is that people don't have a specific goal when they start. And then they also don't know how they're going to measure success when they start. And so they just post something and they boost something and they create an ad campaign. And they're not even really sure how to tell if they've been successful or not. So having a clear objective across each ad campaign or each post that you're creating. And then also, what is the call to action for that? Is it, if you're doing something like awareness, which is just, a cute kitten picture, or that call to action would probably be for them to like your Facebook page, right? If it's somebody who's evaluating you, it'd be for them to come in for that first exam. Or if it's somebody who's a current client, it would be for them to take an offer and come in for, whatever kind of special you're doing, or the reason why they should come in specifically. So make sure that you know what your objective is. And then with an ad, it's difficult to do multiple objectives typically at one time. So just have one intent for each piece of marketing that you're creating so that you can hopefully be successful in that specific objective. I think that's definitely, I don't see anybody, I see the majority of people failing at that. And then even, if you're doing email campaigns, make sure that you know what your objective is for that too. Are you going to try and have them come in for something? Are you trying to just provide value, get your email open rates higher? What is the objective specifically for your marketing, and have a clear picture of that.
Yeah, and I think what I see is that so many practices just say, oh, well, everyone's on Facebook, I've got to be on there as well. But that's the limit of their objective, is to be on Facebook, but they haven't thought it through past that.
Absolutely, yeah. Just being somewhere isn't enough. Just like having your practice open doesn't mean that you're going to have clients flooding in there every single day. So you need to have specific strategy. And I think if you're just a practice on Facebook and you're not really sure what you're doing, try to engage your clients by being useful, being helpful, and providing value. So figure out what they're looking for, whether it's information or something helpful, and then help to stay in front of them by just offering value like that.
Yeah, and as you were saying that, I'm just reminded of Gary Vaynerchuk's book. Jab, 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 left hook. Is it?
It's right hook. Yeah.
Right hook.
You're lefty.
Okay.
It would be a left hook. Yeah.
Well, I'm left-handed, so it's.
There you go. It's a left hook for you.
So and yeah, the summary of that book, I guess, is give, make an offer.
Yeah, ask exactly.
Ask,
so.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Give and then ask. I think, though, you don't have to. A lot of veterinary professionals are afraid that if they get on Facebook, everybody's just going to ask for information and they're going to not be able to respond back. And I think you just do your best. And obviously, you don't want to, feel like everybody's wasting your time or anything like that. But create content around that giving mentality, and then don't forget to ask, because you have to ask, otherwise you'll go out of business. I mean, there's plenty of injured pets that are out in the wild that need help too. You could just go and help them all day too. So making sure that you actually ask for them to come in, make sure that they know about all the services that you offer as well, because you're working in your practice every single day, and clients don't always know what they need and what you recommend. So make sure that you're just reminding them of what they need, for sure.
I think that's a perfect place on which to stop. Make sure
Very
you ask.
Good.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
Brandon, thank you very much for spending time with us today. It was just awesome, and I'm sure people are going to get a lot of content out of a lot of valuable content out of what you shared today, and they've got to go to grab your podcast.
Very good. Well, thanks. It's on iTunes and on Google Play, so it's probably the best place to consume it. So thank you so much, Diederik. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.